What compensation? How do you...
We pay 25 to 30 for things of this sort. We'll pay 20 for that.
You can have it. Make the edits.
Little Woman, released in 2019, is a film adaptation of Louisa May Alcott's classic 1868 novel, directed by Greta Gerwig. The movie stars Saoirse Ronan as the lead character, along an ensemble cast. It tells the story of four March sisters growing up in Civil War-era Massachusetts. The film unique interweaves timeline to explore their personal growth, ambitions, and relationships.
In 1868, Jo March, a teacher in New York City, goes to Mr. Dashwood, an editor who agrees to publish a story she has written. Her younger sister, Amy, who is in Paris with their Aunt March, attends a party with their childhood friend and neighbor, Laurie. Amy becomes angry at Laurie's drunken behavior, prompting him to mock her for spending time with wealthy businessman Fred Vaughn. Jo becomes hurt when Frederick Bear, a professor interested in her, gives critical feedback on her writing, angering her. After learning from a letter that her younger sister Beth's illness has worsened, Jo returns home to Concord, Massachusetts. 7 years earlier in 1861, Jo meets Laurie while attending a party with her oldest sister Meg.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know anyone was here.
Not at all. Stay if you'd like.
I won't disturb you.
No, I don't know many people here. I felt rather strange at first, you know.
So do I.
Miss March, isn't it?
Yes, Mr. Lawrence, but I'm not Miss March. I'm only Jo.
And I'm not Mr. Lawrence, I'm only Laurie.
On Christmas morning, the girls' mother, Marmee, persuades them to give their breakfast to their poor neighbors, Mrs. Hummel, and their starving children. After returning home, they found a table full of food given to them by their neighbors and Laurie's grandfather, Mr. Lawrence. Marmee then reads a letter from their father fighting in the American Civil War.
Give them all my dear love and a kiss. Tell them I think of them by day, pray for them by night, and find my best comforts in their affection at all times. A year seems a very long time to wait before I see them. But remind them that while we wait, we may all work so these hard days need not be wasted.
Jo regularly reads to Aunt March, hoping Aunt March will invite her to Europe. When Jo, Meg, Laurie, and John Brooke, Laurie's tutor, go to the theater, a jealous Amy burns Jo's writings. The next morning, Amy, wanting forgiveness from an upset Jo, chases her and Laurie onto a frozen lake. They save Amy after she falls through the ice. Mr. Lawrence notices Beth's quietness and invites her to play his late daughter's piano in his house. Meg expresses her unhappiness about being poor to John in the present after buying fabric they cannot afford. Laurie visits Amy to apologize for his behavior, urging her not to marry Fred, but instead marry him.
No. No.
Yes.
No. Laurie.
What?
You're being mean.
What?
Stop
How am I
it.
being
Stop
mean?
it. I have been second to Jo my whole life in everything. And I will not be the person you settle for just because you cannot have her. I won't do it. I won't, not when I've spent my entire life loving you.
Mr. Lawrence gifts Beth the piano in the past and discovers that she's contracted scarlet fever from the Hummels. Amy is sent to stay with Aunt March to avoid the illness, who advises her to provide for her family by marrying well.
You are your family's hope now. Beth is sick, Jo is a lost cause, and I hear Meg has had her head turned by a penniless tutor, so it'll be up to you to support them all, and your indigent parents in their old age. So you must marry well. Save your family.
John urges Meg to turn the fabric into a dress in the present to make her happy, but she reveals she had sold it and reassures him of her happiness as his wife. Beth recovers in time for Christmas in the past, and their father returns home as well. After worsening in the present, Beth dies. On Meg's wedding day in the past, Joe tries to convince her to run away, but Meg expresses her elation to marrying John. Aunt March announces her European trip, taking Amy instead of Joe. After the wedding, Laurie passionately confesses his feelings to Joe, but she refuses him.
Teddy, I don't believe I will ever marry. I'm happy as I am, and I love my liberty too well to be in any hurry to give it up.
I think you're wrong about that, Joe.
No.
I think you will marry Joe. I think you'll find someone and love them, and you will live and die for them because that's your way, and you will. And I'll watch.
In the present, Marmee reveals Amy is returning from Europe with an ill Aunt March. Joe wonders whether she was too quick to turn Laurie down and writes him a letter. Preparing to leave, Amy tells Laurie she's turned down Fred's proposal. They kiss and later marry on the journey home. Laurie tells Joe the news, and though saddened by it, Joe and Laurie agree to remain friends. After which, she discards the letter she wrote to him. Joe begins to write a novel based on her and her sister's lives and send the first chapter to an unimpressed Mr. Dashwood. Barr surprises Joe by turning up at the March's house on his way to California.
Who's this? Who are you?
I'm so sorry to intrude. I was close by and I thought But I'll be going.
No, please stay. We have more than enough room.
Someone tell me who this man is.
I don't want to be a burden.
Oh, you're not a burden at all.
Yes, of course, please.
I'm Laurie. Who are you?
I'm Frédéric Baird.
We were at the same boarding house together in New York.
Oh, Joe, he's very handsome.
Frederick spends the afternoon with them, much to Joe's delight, and is loved by the entire family. He even plays the piano for them. After saying his goodbyes to everyone and to Joe, everyone stares at Joe.
Why are you all looking at me like that?
What a wonderful man. I hope he comes back. He would make a terrific friend for me.
Oh, Father, he wasn't here for you.
No.
Joe, you love him.
What? No, I don't.
Yes, you do. I am half as smart as you, but I can see it so plainly you love him. Doesn't she love him?
It's a good instinct. You love him.
I have never seen you so happy. What else is love?
They convince Joe to get dressed up and ready to chase after Frederick. In New York, Mr. Dashwood agrees to publish Joe's novel after his daughters demand to know how it ends. But he refuses to accept the protagonist remaining unmarried at the end. To appease him, Joe ends her novel with the protagonist herself stopping Barr from leaving for California. But that wasn't what happened in real life. Instead, in reality, Joe successfully negotiates copyrights and loyalties with Mr. Dashwood and remains single.
Mr. Dashwood, if I'm going to sell my heroin into marriage for money, I might as well get some of it.
6.6%.
Done.
And you don't need to decide about the copyright right now.
Now I've decided. I want to own my own book.
Following Aunt March's death, she inherits her house and opens it as a school, where Meg, Amy, John, and Barr all teach. Jo is pleased with the way her life turned out, as she observes the printing of her novel, titled Little Woman.
Little Woman is celebrated for its fresh and modern take on the classic story, its non-linear narrative, and the strong performances by its ensemble cast. Greta Gerwig's direction and adaptation brings new depth and contemporary relevance to Alcott's enduring tale. 接下来我们揭晓今天的学习内容。The phrase second to is commonly used in comparison to indicate that something or someone is almost as good as the best or the most important, but still ranked immediately below it. It highlights a high level of quality or importance, just not the very highest. For example, her presentation skills are second to none. This means her presentation skills are the best, not surpassed by anyone else. A lost cause is an idiomatic expression that refers to a situation, effort, or endeavor that has no chance of succeeding or being resolved positively. It suggests that any further attempt to change or improve the situation are futile. For example, after years of trying to reconcile their differences, they finally accepted that their marriage was a lost cause and decided for a divorce. And that's it for this episode of Cinephile. You can find more on the FUNDAY website. Let's make every day a fun day.
Don't you dance?
I don't know how you do things here yet. You see, I've spent most of my life in Europe.
Europe! Oh, that's capital! Shouldn't use words like that.
Says who?
Oh, Meg, she's my older sister. Here,